And number 7, what is the solution of the equation over complex numbers? Okay, the process that we're going to use here is factoring over complex numbers. So if you remember, there is a standard or a formula for factoring over complex number. So numbers, if you have a squared plus b squared, very kind of similar to what we have here, x squared plus 34. That is going to equal to a plus bi times a minus bi. All right, and this is the formula that we use to factor over complex numbers. Okay, so let's look at our problem here. Let's just put it right above. So if we say a squared plus b squared, okay, equals a plus bi over a minus bi. Okay, what is a going to equal to? If we look at this one and this one, a is going to equal to x. Okay, b is equal to the square root of 34. Okay, the reason it's the square root of 34 is because if b was the square root of 34 and we squared the square root of 34, it will give me 34. Okay, so we have our a, which is x, and our b, which is the square root of 34. Now that we have that information, we can just substitute it into our formula. Okay, so this equals to whatever a is, in this case is x. Let me rewrite it. All right, I'm just going to clean it up a bit. Get rid of formula. Okay, so we're going to rewrite this as a, parentheses a, which is x, plus b, which is the square root of 34, and then we'll have I as well. So square root of 34 and I. We usually put the I on the left side of the square root, so we'll say I square root of 34. Close the parentheses, x minus I square root of 34. Okay, so these two set of parentheses is replacing x squared plus 34. All right, and this whole thing is equal to 0, so we set this equal to 0. All right, now we're going to use a zero product property. The zero product property states that both of these have to be equal to 0. So x plus I square root of 34 needs to be set equal to 0, and x minus I square root of 34 should be set equal to 0 as well. So what we're going to do now is solve for x by subtracting or moving this term over to the right side, subtracting I square root of 34 from both sides. So minus I square root of 34 on both sides. So we get x equals negative I square root of 34. So we do the same thing here. We add I square root of 34 on both sides. Okay, now the terms look a little strange. It doesn't matter what they look like. The process is still the same, whether this be a number or this strange combination of terms, I square root of 34. We still have to add that same term to both sides. So we end up with x equals positive I square root of 34. Okay, so what are our roots? What are the solutions? The solutions are x equals negative I square root of 34 and x equals I square root of 34. So these are the two solutions.